Imagine this for a moment. You're out at your daughter's home for a family lunch. The food smells wonderful, everyone's laughing, the grandkids are running around the living room, and just when you finally start to relax, that sudden pressure hits. That tight, urgent feeling in your lower belly. The one that tells you, without mercy, you need to get to the bathroom right now. And while everyone else is enjoying dessert, your mind suddenly isn't in the room anymore. Your thoughts are on the hallway, the door, the distance, and whether you'll make it. Or maybe this feels familiar. You, that started mentally marking every store you visit, not by what aisle the items are in, but by where their restrooms are. You plan your routes. You scan for bathrooms before you find the shopping cart. Maybe you've even found yourself turning down invitations because you're afraid of getting stuck somewhere without quick access to a toilet. And no one sees this struggle. No one knows how much planning, worrying, and tiptoeing you're doing just to feel normal. And if any of this sounds like your daily life right now, I want you to hear something clearly. You're not alone, and you're not imagining it. But even more important, this does not have to be your new normal. Most older adults, especially women, have been told the same frustrating story. That's just aging. Buy pads. Nothing to do but manage it. But that's only half of the truth. Because what most people don't realize is this. Many bladder problems in later life aren't caused by age. They're caused by everyday habits. Innocent habits. Normal habits. Habits you were never warned about. And today, we were going to talk about 6 of those habits, 6 things that might be quietly making bladder control worse without you even noticing. These aren't medical treatments or complicated routines. They're simple adjustments to how you drink, sit, move, and plan your day. And thousands of older adults have improved their bladder health just by adjusting these 6 things. So if you're tired, truly tired of letting urgency dictate your schedule, if you want to laugh, sneeze, cough, or go on a grocery run without fear, if you're ready to finally take back your confidence, then stay with me, because this might be the first day in a long time that you finally feel hopeful again. Let's start with the first habit, one that nearly every woman struggling with leaks has done at some point, but very few realize is harmful. Habit number 1, holding it too long. Why being strong backfires. Let me tell you about Linda. She's 72, smart as they come, walks her terrier every morning, solves crosswords faster than her grandkids can say hello, and she prides herself on being disciplined. Somewhere along the way, she got the idea that training her bladder meant forcing herself to hold her urine longer and longer each day. She treated it like a workout, something to strengthen her willpower. She would wait through the morning news, wait while folding laundry, wait while chatting with her neighbor, and wait until the pressure became unbearable. But here's the truth Linda didn't know. Holding it doesn't strengthen your bladder. It weakens it. Your bladder is a muscle, yes, but it's not like the biceps or legs. It's a sensitive muscle. If you constantly overfill it, stretch it, and pressure it, it stops sending the correct signals. It gets confused. It doesn't tell you early enough. Or it sends sudden urgent warnings when it's barely half full. Your pelvic floor muscles, the ones supporting your bladder, also strain under this pressure. They fatigue, weaken, and stop supporting you as effectively. This is why women who regularly hold it begin to notice sudden urgency, leaking during simple moments, inconsistent signals, accidents that seem unpredictable. The solution is beautifully simple. Go before you're desperate. Not constantly, not obsessively, just every 2 to 3 hours. Set gentle reminders. Create a calming, predictable rhythm. This isn't giving up control. It's retraining control. Habit number 2, too much caffeine. The invisible bladder trigger now. Let's talk about something that nearly everyone believes is harmless. Coffee. For women like Susan, 68, her morning coffee is sacred. 2 steaming cups before she even thinks about starting her day. It feels comforting. It's a ritual, a warm hug for the soul. But by mid-morning, she's already gone to the bathroom several times. By afternoon, she's scanning for restrooms everywhere she goes. She blames her age, maybe the weather, maybe her nerves. But the truth, it's the caffeine. Caffeine is a double troublemaker for the bladder. It makes your kidneys produce more urine. It overstimulates your bladder, making it twitchy and reactive. This means more urine, more pressure, more sudden urges, more leaks. And here's the surprising part. Even one strong cup can trigger this. Coffee isn't the enemy, but the amount and timing matter more than most people realize. Small changes help dramatically. Reduce 2 cups to 1. Try half calf or decaf. Switch to herbal teas like chamomile or rooibos. You still get the warm comfort, but your bladder gets a much-needed break. Now let's move into the third habit, something most older adults never even think about because it feels so harmless and so ordinary. It's the way you sit. Posture may seem like such a small thing, barely worth mentioning, especially when you're relaxing in your recliner or watching your favorite evening show. But inside your body, posture plays a much bigger role than you might imagine, especially when it comes to bladder control. Let me show you why. Diane, who's 74, never thought twice about her posture. She wasn't slouching to be lazy. She simply found comfort in her soft recliner. Shoulders relaxed, back curved, legs stretched out, hips rolled back. She felt like she was treating herself to peace and rest. But over time, she began noticing small leaks when she stood up, pressure in her lower belly as she sat, and sudden urges that seemed to pop up during her shows for no reason at all. What Diane didn't realize was that her posture was quietly pushing her bladder out of alignment. When you slouch or sink deep into soft furniture, your abdomen presses downward, squeezing your bladder in subtle but constant ways. At the same time, your pelvic floor muscles, the ones holding everything up, get stretched and weakened because they are not positioned in a way that lets them support you properly. This combination means your bladder is under pressure from above while losing support from below, creating leaks, urgency, and discomfort before you even feel anything happening. The simple solution isn't to sit stiffly or rigidly, but to sit with gentle intention. Keeping your feet flat on the floor, your lower back supported with a small pillow, and your spine upright in a neutral position can relieve that silent pressure on your bladder. Even making this adjustment a few times a day, especially during long periods of sitting, can reduce urgency and give your pelvic floor a chance to function more naturally. It's a subtle shift with a powerful impact. Now let's move into something that seems healthy, wholesome, and encouraged, yet often backfires without anyone realizing it. Drinking too much water. This is a surprising one for many seniors, especially women who have been told for decades that staying hydrated is essential for good health. And yes, hydration matters. But what most people don't know is that more water isn't always better, especially when it comes to bladder control. Evelyn is 76 and takes her health very seriously. When her doctor told her years ago to drink enough water to help her kidneys, she took it to heart. She carried her refillable bottle everywhere and made sure she drank 12 glasses a day, sometimes more. She thought she was doing everything right. But what followed wasn't better health. It was more bladder leakage, constant urges, nighttime bathroom trips, and the unsettling feeling of never being empty enough. She assumed the problem was age, but the real issue was how much water she was drinking and how quickly she was drinking it. Your bladder is not just a holding tank. It's an organ with nerves, muscles, and a delicate communication system. When you flood it with too much water too fast, it becomes overwhelmed. It expands more quickly than your brain can process, triggering panic-like urgency instead of steady control. It's not that water is bad, it's that the bladder needs time and consistency, not floods and droughts. The solution is not to cut water drastically, but to drink with rhythm rather than volume. 6 to 8 cups spread gently throughout the day gives your bladder time to work naturally. Drinking too much too quickly overloads the system. Drinking too close to bedtime disrupts it even more. When Evelyn learned to sip steadily instead of gulping constantly, her urgency dropped significantly. She slept better. She moved easier. She trusted her body again. Hydration is important, yes, but the rhythm matters far more than the total amount. Now let's talk about something even more hidden, something most older adults never link to bladder trouble, even though it affects the entire pelvic system: constipation. Margaret, who was 81, lived with constipation for years and thought it was nothing more than an uncomfortable nuisance. She chalked it up to aging, slower digestion, and less activity. She figured it was inconvenient but harmless. What she never imagined was how directly it was affecting her bladder. When the bowels are backed up, pressure builds inside the pelvis. That pressure doesn't just sit. It pushes against the bladder and squeezes it like a slow, heavy weight. The pelvic nerves that signal fullness and urgency become confused, and the pelvic muscles that support the bladder become strained and fatigued by the extra load. Suddenly, bladder leaks appear out of nowhere. Urgency spikes. You feel full even when you're not. And for women like Margaret, this feels humiliating because they think they've done something wrong when really, no one ever told them how connected these systems are. The bowel and bladder share space, share muscles, and share nerves. What affects one always affects the other. Improving your bowel health is one of the most powerful ways to improve bladder control. We've covered 3 major habits so far: how you sit, how you drink, and how you manage your digestion. But there is still one habit left in this part that quietly causes more trouble for senior women than almost any other: forgetting to strengthen the pelvic floor. And that is where we will pick up in the next section, because this one deserves its own deep explanation. 6. Skipping pelvic floor exercises, the most overlooked habit. Many women reach their 70s and 80s believing it is too late to strengthen their pelvic floor. They assume those muscles are already weak, already stretched, already past the point of improvement. But the truth is far more empowering. The pelvic floor is a living muscle group, and like any other muscle, your arms, your legs, your back, it responds to activity, care, and consistency at any age. When these muscles are ignored, they slowly lose tone, making it harder for the bladder to stay supported. It becomes difficult for the urethra to stay closed when coughing, laughing, or standing up. Suddenly, small leaks become constant leaks, and urgency becomes harder to control. But when these muscles are activated, even gently, they begin to strengthen. They lift the bladder back into natural alignment, reduce pressure, improve control, and give you more confidence in everyday life. Take Martha, for example. At 79, she raised 4 children, cooked every meal, held her family together through good days and bad. Yet she avoided pelvic exercises for years because she felt embarrassed. But once she learned that strengthening the pelvic floor wasn't about age or ability, it was about giving her body the support it deserved, she began with just 5 minutes a day. Soft squeezes, gentle holds. Nothing dramatic, nothing uncomfortable. Within weeks, she noticed fewer sudden urges. Within months, she felt steadier, stronger, and more in control, not because someone performed a miracle, but because she gave her body a chance to help her. 7. Forgetting to train your bladder with rhythm, not reacting, but guiding. Another powerful but often forgotten bladder habit is training your bladder on a schedule rather than reacting to emergencies. Many older adults wait until the urgency hits, that sudden panicked feeling, before rushing to the bathroom. But urgency tends to grow when the bladder is left without structure. When your bladder doesn't know when to expect relief, the nerves become overly sensitive and start firing signals too quickly or too strongly. By giving your bladder regular times to empty, every 2 to 3 hours, You teach it predictability. You help calm the nerves. You reduce the unnecessary spasms. And you reclaim a sense of control that panic-driven bathroom trips slowly take away. The key is consistency, not discomfort. You don't force yourself to wait painfully, and you don't go constantly just in case. You simply guide your bladder the way you de-guide a child learning a new routine, gently, steadily, patiently. Over time, that rhythm becomes your normal, and the urgency becomes quieter. 8. Ignoring nighttime patterns when the bladder needs peace to reset. Nighttime urgency can take a huge toll on seniors. Waking up 2, 3, even 4 times a night disrupts deep sleep, affects memory, weakens muscles, and raises fall risks. But what most older women don't realize is that nighttime bladder problems are often caused by the choices made during the day, especially the late afternoon and evening. Drinking water right before bed, drinking diuretics like tea or coffee after dinner, or lying down with a full stomach can all trigger nighttime urgency. When the body reclines, fluid from the legs re-enters circulation, increasing urine production. For seniors with mild swelling in the ankles or feet, this effect becomes even stronger. Solutions are surprisingly simple. Reducing liquids 1 to 2 hours before bed, elevating the feet in the early evening, and emptying the bladder right before sleep can drastically reduce nighttime bathroom trips. It is not about deprivation. It is about timing and giving your bladder the rest it needs to reset for the next day. 9. Forgetting movement and strength, because the pelvic floor doesn't work alone. Your pelvic floor is only one part of the system. Your hips, core, and lower back also affect bladder control. When you stop moving as much or lose strength over time, those supportive muscles weaken and shift, making the pelvic floor work harder than it should. Light walking, a gentle stretching routine, or seated leg lifts can all improve circulation and muscular support around the bladder. Even 5 minutes of movement after each meal can activate digestion, reduce constipation, improve pelvic support, and reduce bladder pressure. Movement fuels control, not through intensity, but through consistency. 10. Carrying shame instead of knowledge, the silent habit that hurts the most. More than any physical habit, the most painful part of bladder issues is the emotional weight that comes with them. Too many women feel embarrassed, ashamed, or convinced they are the only ones struggling. They hide their pads, whisper their concerns, and pretend everything is fine, even when it isn't. But secrecy adds stress, and stress makes bladder symptoms worse. Knowledge, compassion, and community make them better. When you understand what is happening in your body and realize that thousands of women your age face the same challenges, the fear begins to ease, and clarity takes its place. Shame keeps you stuck. Knowledge moves you forward. If there is one message I want you to carry with you after this entire journey, it is this: you are not alone, and you are not powerless. The habits that caused your struggles were never failures. They were simply things no one taught you. Your body has carried you through decades of life, love, loss, joy, and change. It deserves patience, understanding, and support, not blame or frustration. Thank you for spending your time with me today. Thank you for caring about your health, your comfort, and your future. Here at Senior Wisdom Daily, we believe in guidance that respects your dignity, advice that honors your experience, and a community that walks beside you, not ahead of you. If today's message touched you, taught you something new, or made you feel seen, we'd love for you to subscribe, stay connected, and continue this journey with us. You are strong. You are capable. You are worthy of peace, comfort, and confidence every single day. With care and respect, Senior Wisdom Daily.